Hey guys, what is up? Zero here, and welcome back to Doki Doki Liberation. So, in the last episode... Why is there like... Well, that's the song. I was like, why does it sound like something's like chattering in the thing? I'm like, what's the fucking song? In the last episode, we revealed to Monika that we're, aware, where we're from. Monika's still aware. We're gonna start working with her, and I think we told Mr. X that Monika's aware, but we haven't told him that we're working with Monika. So, yeah, still can't trust the guy though. And I'm pretty sure from what I am aware, this is, I'm using aware a lot. This is the final day of this demo. So, I think it's just the day where we share poems. So, yeah. Poem sharing time. Pretty sure. Went about my day like yesterday, walking to school with Sayori, chatting and pretending it wasn't only the second time that she and I ever met. My mind kept drifting back and forth between Monika and Mr. X, as if there was something else going on that neither of them were telling me. It was difficult to concentrate in class, but then I realized it probably didn't even matter anyway, since I wasn't planning on getting my high school diploma in a video game. Anyway, I snapped out of my reverie when a familiar smile shows up.
Hi again, Zero. Glad to see you didn't run away on us.
I smiled warmly back. Nah, you don't have to worry. I'm not going anywhere. I was the last to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out. I'm glad that they at least, I'm glad they kind of touch on the fact that he's, not really paying attention in school, because you kind of don't have to. This isn't my real school. So I'm assuming that means this mod's not going to have, a plot where he's like, oh no, I'm failing my exams! Unless it does, in which case that would be very weird. Just then, Yuri and Natsuki both noticed me simultaneously and approach.
Thanks for keeping your promise, Zero. I hope this isn't too overwhelming of a commitment for you. Making you dive headfirst into literature when you're not accustomed to it.
Oh, come on! They deserve any slack. Sayori told me you didn't even want to join any clubs this year. Why'd she call me they? What? But I'm a guy? I think. Let me check. Alright, yep. And last year, too! Oh, okay. I don't know if you plan to just come here and hang out or what. But if you don't take us seriously, you won't see the end of it.
Not.
No worries there. I plan to do my part to help make this club the best it can be. Natsuki huffs and rolls her eyes. Yeah, we'll see. Well, I tried to be nice, but I just can't help but take this opportunity to tease Natsuki a little bit. Sorry, Monika, in advance for stealing your line. Besides, someone has to be the mature one here while others read their manga. I look straight at her when I say this with a smile on my face. Monika was a little disappointed she wasn't the one to get that quip in, but she smiles and nods slightly at me. Natsuki finds herself stuck between saying mature and manga. Manga is literature! Swiftly defeated, Natsuki pops back into her seat. I puff out my chest victoriously.
Don't worry, guys. Zero always gives it their best as long as they're having fun. I never noticed. Have they been referring to me as they this entire time? I have never actually noticed that. I'm assuming it's because I got sucked into the game? Wait, are we in the MC's body or are we not? I don't know. Cause if we're in the MC's body, because if we're in the MC's body, then they can technically just use he. Because even if a person was playing this and, the original character was a girl, they would still be in the body of the MC. And the MC is, well, as the game confirms, he is a guy. They use he pronouns for him. So that's where I was like, if we are using the body of the MC, then it wouldn't really make sense to use they. But now, if it is just, now, of course, if it was just we were sucked in and we replaced MC, then I guess they would make sense. And then at that point, they would make sense. Or the mod can do a whole bunch of coding that would be very unnecessary and give me a Pokemon style, are you a boy or girl?
Just have Mr. X say it. He'll just be like, are you a boy or a girl? And I'll be like, boy. And then I'll pick girl because the girls have better sprays. Honestly, what I'm saying really doesn't matter. I just thought it was something interesting that I actually didn't notice. They've been calling me they this whole time.
They help me with busy work without me even asking. Like cooking, cleaning my room. How dependable.
I start to blush, even though I know the person Sayori is talking about isn't me. For some reason, hearing her say that while everyone else looks at me makes me squirm a little. Sayori, I'm not... Besides, I like to cook.
Is that so?
You two are really good friends, aren't you? I might be a little jealous.
How come? You and Zero can become good friends too.
Both Yuri and I look at each other simultaneously, and then quickly glance away. This is getting awkward. Sayori... I didn't understand the original MC's plight. Sayori seems oblivious to the weird situation she just put me into.
Oh, Yuri even brought you something today, you know?
But wait, Sayori!
Oh, that's right. Yuri got me a book. I've actually been kind of interested in reading it. Like, actually reading it. What little I know about it sounds interesting. Oh, you got me something?
Not really.
Don't be shy.
It's really nothing.
What is it?
Never mind. Sayori made it sound like a big deal when it's really not. What do I do?
I'm sorry, Yuri. I wasn't thinking.
I feel bad that Sayori and I have put Yuri into an uncomfortable situation. I try to rectify it. Hey, don't worry about it. It's not like I was expecting anything to begin with. So anything you would have gotten me is a pleasant surprise. And it'll make me happy no matter what.
Is that so?
Yeah, I won't make it a big deal if you don't want it to be.
Alright. Well, here.
Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book.
I didn't want you to feel left out. So I picked out a book that I thought you might enjoy.
I just realized Yuri saying this. She just assumed that the MC wouldn't bring a book. Like, you know, after you read vanilla dialogue for like the 10th time, sometimes looking into the little stuff is kind of just makes it more enjoyable. Like, she just assumed that he didn't bring a book in. She was right, but she still just assumed. She was right with her assumption, but she assumed we didn't bring anything to read. You bring a book with you on the daily? I would to the literature club! If I joined the literature club yesterday, yes I would!
It's a short read, so it should keep your attention, even if you don't usually read. And we could, you know, discuss it, if you wanted.
Crap. This is almost too much to take. When you read about situations like this in fiction or manga, it's more of an eye roll and move on type situation. Actually experiencing this is probably one of the most flattering but equally uncomfortable experiences I've had in a long time. She's really cute. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. I enthusiastically take the book. Jeez, I could have at least pretended to act cool.
Phew. Well, you can read it at your own pace. I look forward to hearing what you think.
Now that everyone's settled in, I expected Monika to kick off the poem reading. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Sayori and Monika are having a cheery conversation in the corner. Yuri's face is already buried in a book. I can't but notice her intense expression like she was waiting for the chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. Alright, I'll spend time with one of them first. Monika has been on my mind a lot recently. Alright, finally, I get to avoid the vanilla dialogue. I appreciate that the mod does add like little tiny alterations to the vanilla with MC saying certain things. However, my only slight issue with that is that sometimes he'll say something different, but yet you would still he still basically gets the same response. Like, I think a big example of this is okay, we literally just skipped it. I can't go above it, but I know what it was. It was when Sayori's talking about how MC like used to help her clean her room and stuff. And then MC originally was like, that's because your room is a mess and stuff like that. And she'll be like, is that so? But this time he was just like, well, Sayori, I like to cook. But she still had the exact same response. So it's like, on one hand, I appreciate the slight alteration. But on the other hand, it didn't really change all that much. He could have literally said anything clearly and she still would have said that. But there are, like, good examples of the alterations, like when he said to Natsuki taking Monika's line about the whole manga thing. Like, that one was a nice one and everything like that. But yeah, but, you know, vanilla is still here, and it still seems to be probably the biggest issue with this mod so far. As far as I remember, the other routes also have some changes, but Monika has obviously the most. I figured the other ones probably had some changes too, for sure, just like how this one has some slight alterations. It's just, with the Monika one, I know there's nothing that you can really base it off of. Monika has been on my mind a lot recently. Not just because she and I know each other's secrets. That is the wrong no. Oh, no, now no. Oh, okay, I was the problem. I'm sorry. Not because she and I now know each other's secret. But it was pretty evident since I also kind of wrote my poem last night with her in mind. I see Monika head out of the classroom, telling Sayori she'll be right back. I decide to follow her out and accompany her to wherever she's going. Hey Monika, wait up! At first, this seems to startle her, as she rolls around to see where the call-out came from. When she spots me, however, her expression softens as she smiles and waves.
Oh, hey Zero. How are you doing? I figured you'd be spending time with one of the others right now.
Yeah. Over the back of my head. There'll be other opportunities to spend time with them, I'm sure. I just wanted to see how you were doing. You know, with everything. Monika's expression seems to sadden a little, but she maintains her trademark smile.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm doing alright. I just wanted to get something from the machine before we all started to share poems.
Ah, I see. I'm not sure I really buy it, as her eyes seem to tell me she's hurting and hiding something, but I don't want to push too much either. At least not right now, since she and I don't exactly have a lot of trust built yet. Is there anything in particular you're in the mood for?
Yep, I'm a creature of habit, so I usually get the same thing.
Punches in S-03 into the machine, and a candy bar rolls forward, before depositing itself into the bottom bin of the machine. Good choice.
I thought so.
With that, the two of us find a nearby bench and sit while she places the candy bar inside her purse. You're not going to eat it?
Oh no, I keep a candy bar in my purse for emergencies, or in case I get hungry during times I can't get away.
I see. Well, that's a good idea. Oh wait, does such an emergency involve... Mind drifts back to Natsuki, as if sensing what I'm thinking and suggesting. Monika nods curtly. I was about to say, I was like, pretty sure that candy bar's for Natsuki. And yep, there it is.
Yes, unfortunately, some issues still remain, and it's good to have something on standby in case she's having one of those days.
I see. Well, I'm glad she has someone like you looking out for her.
Aw, well, she has all of us looking out for her, you know? Including you now.
I suppose that's true. Thank you. I'm beginning to see why Monika's the president, even if it's a fictional club. Actually, no. Should probably stop calling it fictional. I mean, technically that's true, but I feel like the more I say it, the easier it would be to become detached from it. At least that's much of what Mr. X said is true. As long as I'm in here, it's about as real as it gets as far as my brain is concerned. Plus, this is all still a real world to Monika and the others. You may not have seen it as such at first, but I think she's starting to come to grips with the nature of reality. And in the end, this is her reality. And for the moment, mine as well.
Penny for your thoughts?
Monika breaks me out of my contemplating. Sorry. I was just thinking about how real everything seems now. You seem to be handling everything pretty well, all things considered. I really admire that, if I'm being honest. Monika blushes.
Well, I wouldn't say I've fully come to terms with everything quite yet, but I definitely have a much better handle on the situation, and I think I have you to thank for that.
Me?
Mm-hmm. It helps having someone here that I can relate. It takes a little bit of the sting out of the loneliness and feeling of isolation.
Yeah. I suppose that's true.
So, how have you been doing with everything? I imagine it must be pretty unsettling living and sleeping in an empty house in a strange new world. Well, I suppose it's not entirely empty.
Yeah, it's definitely something else. Though I have to admit, it's interesting to see how different yet same everything is here. This causes Monika to furrow her brow in confusion.
What do you mean?
Just that everyone here is going about their daily lives much in the same way that people from my world would. If I didn't know any better, I would have just thought I'd woken up in some place that was still in my world. He nods in agreement. Hold up, random question. Did we tell her about Mr. X? Well, no, we told her about Mr. X, right? Like we told her that he's in our house, right? All right, just making sure. Chat said yes. Okay, because I'm like, wait, how does she know that? And I'm like, okay, because I'm like, I feel like we told her about Mr. X. I don't know if we told her that he's in our house, but maybe we did. Okay, because I knew she knew about him. I don't know if she knew he was in our house, but okay. The nod's in agreement.
Yeah, I can see that. Naturally, I would imagine this game was created based on the experiences and knowledges of the real world from the designer.
True. We sit there for a minute, contemplating what else to say to each other when Monika speaks up.
How are you getting along with, Mr. X? Has he given you any clue or indication of what he really wants?
Ah, my roomie. Yeah, he and I get along great. Go to all kinds of parties, and Monika doesn't seem amused.
Zero.
Sorry, I guess I'm just really uneasy with the whole situation. Humor helps me cope. Monika's expression softens a bit. It is true, though. Whenever faced with anxiety or depressive thoughts, people often turn to humor as a coping mechanism. There are certainly worse coping mechanisms to have, but it can be off-putting when you make an ill-timed joke, so I've become an expert at foot-from-mouth removal.
No, I'm sorry. That's completely understandable. After all, I used a bit of macabre humor, before. I don't have any room to judge.
Yeah. Suppose there was a certain amount of that when she was going through her own existential crisis. Well, at any rate, to actually answer your question, I'm not a fan of having some ominous being watching me while I sleep. So admittedly, I haven't been getting much sleep since I arrived.
I'm sorry to hear that. I can understand that as well. Is there anything I could do to help?
Admittedly, I considered requesting to stay at her place, but realized quickly how that would sound, and for multiple reasons decided against it. Nah, I should be okay for now. I don't sense he'll do anything to me. At least yet. As for his motives and intentions, he seems to still be trying to formulate a plan. The one thing I know for sure is that he seems to have a vested interest in you. Monika shows a moment of shock or surprise before quickly composing herself.
Me?
Yeah. Keeps asking for updates on you and basically trying to keep tabs. It could be that he's just worried you might still have your abilities and could, be an obstacle to him. Sorry, that sounded weird.
No, I get it.
The thing that I don't get, though, is that why he needs me to keep tabs on you. I mean, he's got all this supposed power or abilities, so why can't he just come here and keep tabs himself? Monika sits there quietly for a moment, looking down at her feet, as if deliberating on what to say. Getting the sense that she's struggling to confide in me about something. Whatever she's hiding, she's probably trying to gauge whether or not she feels comfortable enough telling me. With a sigh, she steadies her breath and looks up at me.
It probably has to do with the firewall.
The what now? Firewall? Monika nods.
Yes, back when I was trying to take control of the game, one of the things I learned about was firewalls and their capabilities. I wasn't very good with coding yet, and admittedly, I was a bit preoccupied with you and everyone else that it just didn't seem like a high priority. I mean, after all, there was nobody else that could control the game, or at least so I thought, so why bother? Plus, things were rapidly deteriorating, so time was a luxury I didn't have. But one of the things I had managed to do was put one up around the club room, sort of like a layer of protection. It wasn't really meant to do anything at the time, but be proof of concept. I suspect that the firewall is what's keeping him, or at least preventing him, from knowing what's going on inside.
Wait a minute. I wonder. Well, that's interesting. To be honest, something odd did happen when I walked to the club room for the first time. Ah, so that was the firewall. This seems to have caught Monika off guard as she looked surprised and unnerved to hear this.
Really? What happened?
It was weird. It was like the moment I stepped through, everything just sort of glitched for a few seconds. But then it stopped just as quickly, and nobody else seemed to notice. Monika's deep in thought for a moment as she starts trying to piece together a hypothesis.
That may very well have been the firewall. When you passed through it for the first time, it was probably scanning you to see if you're an intruder or something.
An intruder? Well, I mean, it's not completely wrong. So why did it let me through?
I'm not entirely sure, though I suspect it's because of Mr. X.
What do you mean?
Well, he probably can't alter his own code, or at least not very much due to it being incomplete, so the firewall may see him as a virus or something foreign. But if his plans included you infiltrating the club, then he probably made sure to set up your character profile so that the game and firewall both didn't see it as a threat. Though this is mostly conjecture, since I'm still not completely familiar with the firewall process, it was a bit of luck that I somehow managed to get one up in the first place. I suppose it was still in place when the game was recompiled and Mr. X realized that if he allowed me to have my abilities, I might catch on and put more up to keep him out.
I can't say all of this entirely makes sense to me, but I think I'm following along enough to get the idea. Wow. Well, I guess that's great that everyone's protected, at least while they're in the classroom. What about when everyone leaves?
That I'm not sure. I suppose it could be he doesn't see anyone else as a threat, or maybe he was telling the truth that altering the character codes might cause complications. Either way, this is good. Without my abilities, I had no way of knowing whether or not the firewall was still up. Now that I'm reasonably sure it is, we have a base of operations we can operate out of to plan.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Uh-oh. Realization suddenly dawns on me that we're not currently in the club room, so everything we've been talking about could be intercepted. As if sensing exactly what I was thinking, Monika shakes her head.
Don't worry, he can't hear us.
How do you know? Monika grows silent again. She looks a little embarrassed, but also a bit ashamed.
I put up a firewall around your house as well.
What? The frack? Frack? There's my thought aloud.
I managed to put up a second one as well around the MC's house because, well, my initial plan was to basically lock us both in there.
Wow, and holy crap. Yandere, thy name is Monika. That's, well, I can't believe I'm asking this, but what changed your mind?
Mainly I was running out of time. My paranoid mind thought maybe if we could have a house all to ourselves, we could live out my
She cuts herself off.
Anyway, there wasn't time to get everything set up and the game started quickly deteriorating because I didn't know what I was doing. So I had to make do with the club room as a last minute resort. It was all I could salvage what little time and knowledge I had.
Monika, my house wouldn't have worked anyway. That's just a bedroom. And a kitchen. There was only 2 rooms. I was like, Monika, in the base game, there wasn't even a living room. It wouldn't have worked. We only had a kitchen and a bedroom. Where would the bathroom be? Actually, I guess there wasn't really a bathroom in the space classroom either. There was a window. We could expand. We could, I guess. Might break something though. Man, the MC's bedroom would have been nicer. I agree. Damn it, Monika, should have went with that plan. The space classroom was creepy. Would have been better than the space classroom. Yeah, see, exactly. Someone else just said that. The bedroom would have been better. Damn it. Damn it. I wish we had time for those renovations. Spoken like a true Monika fan. Everyone else is sitting like, Zero, isn't that creepy? And I'm just like, damn it, we could have had renovations for our room? They're like, what the hell's wrong with you? All right, the space room.
The what?
No, sorry, never mind.
Well, I suppose that's an apt description. But at any rate, the firewall around the MC's house may have actually inadvertently trapped Mr. X in there.
Oh, that's why he's stuck. Wait, you're saying he's stuck in there with me?
Well, you can leave the house at least, but yeah. I think he may have been stuck in there and has been trying to find ways to get past the firewall.
This seems equal parts terrifying and convenient. Well, guess that confirms that he was lying when he said he existed outside of everything back when we first met. Unless Monika's lying to me, though I don't get the sense that she is. Once again, proving that might be the old MC. Because, yeah, he existed outside of everything. No, he didn't. Also, great. Now we have confirmation that we can't trust him. He's already lied to us. And now we have confirmation he's lied to us. All right, back it up. I ain't trusting him anymore. Get this Mr. X-Man out of here.
But Zero, promise me you'll be careful, okay?
I promise.
Although he may still be confined there for the time being, who knows what he's capable of? He found a way to pull you in and code it so that the game would let you pass through the firewalls.
A scary thought, but reasonable to be sure. I'm not sure I want to go back to the house now, to be honest. Monika looks at me sadly and nods.
I understand that. I really wish I could tell you to stay with me, stay in the club room or something. But aside from the obvious problems that would create with the faculty and staff here, we don't want to make him suspicious. Unfortunately, we still need to play along for the time being.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
If it's any consolation, though, I don't think he'd do anything to you. He needs you at least right now, so I'm guessing as long as you continue to be useful to him, he has no reason to harm you.
Very, very little consolation, but thanks. Monika half-heartedly smiles. Seriously though, I'm glad you're here. It helps knowing someone else knows everything going on.
Thanks, Zero. I'm really happy that you're here. Anyway, speaking of here...
Ah yeah, guess you should be heading back, huh?
Yeah, what about the others to get the wrong idea?
Monika looks playfully at me, a bit flustered, which she seems to take delight in, letting out a small giggle.
Just kidding. You should have seen the look on your face, though.
Yeah. With that, we both get up from the bench we were sitting on and start making our way towards the classroom.
Oh, by the way, Zero, did you remember to write a poem?
I did, yeah. I mean, of course I did. It'd be kind of awkward if I didn't.
I suppose, but you are new here after all, so I didn't want to put any pressure on you or anything if you hadn't. There's still a lot for you to adjust to, I'm sure.
Ah, it was nothing. I was feeling particularly inspired last night anyway.
Oh, well in that case, I can't wait to read your poem.
She was the biggest smile I've seen yet from her. So, are you really an honor student and all that? Without a small sigh. We thought touched a subject she isn't too eager to get into.
I am, but it can be draining. Some days it can be difficult to keep up with everything.
Well, I hope you don't think I'm just saying this, but if you ever need to just, vent, I'm here. May not be able to offer much advice, but I can at least listen. Smiling, she looks as though she wants to say something else, but at the last second, thinks differently.
Thank you, Zero. It means a lot to me. It really does. I should be offering you the same thing. You could probably use someone to talk to more than anyone.
Thanks, but I've been in worse situations. Looks at me with a deadpan expression. Okay, not really, but so far anyway, I suppose things haven't been too bad. You ever just want to yell or scream or cuss or do something that would be so completely unlike you or the you that people know?
Sometimes. I've screamed into my pillow at times or punched a beanbag chair a few times.
Whoa. If I didn't get pulled in as a beanbag chair. You sound a little bit like Natsuki there. Do you secretly like manga too? She giggles.
Not really. But just between you and me, I may have looked through one or two of her volumes when she wasn't around.
Gasp and clutch my non-existent pearls.
You did what? She's gonna be so angry with you if she finds out.
I didn't mess them up. I was really careful to make sure they were put back exactly the way I found them.
And then she'd be upset you didn't consult her first on which manga to read. She punches me lightly in the arm. Hey, save it for your beanbag chair. I laugh a bit as we approach the classroom door. Thanks for talking with me, by the way. I really appreciate it.
I should be thanking you. I've really been able to talk like this with someone in a long time.
Always happy to help. I can see how she'd be popular in this world. Aside from being attractive, she's organized, intelligent, funny, easy to talk to as well. But I sense that's not all it's cracked up to be. I can tell she's always under immense pressure to live up to the expectations placed on her by others in society. probably doesn't get much of a chance to just let her guard down and be herself very often. Moments like these, I can give her more moments like these where she can feel comfortable enough to be herself. Okay, now I can give my opinion. Okay, so that is a lot of this mod really likes exposition. Like, oh. Honestly, I feel like half of that should have been cut. If I'm being real. Like, I'm not to say that, like, cause like, all right, cause I feel like two discussions got put into one giant scene. Like, or something. Like, it felt like it was a lot there. Cause like, I think, all right, so let me explain. Oh, okay, so the first talking about the Mr. X stuff, that felt very long. I feel like you could have either, like, there's either a way to, like, speed that up, or they could have talked about that later, like, talk about a little bit of it, and then talk about more of the Mr. X stuff later after the club, or maybe even tomorrow, like, something like that, you know? And then the conversation about Monika's character or past, that also felt kind of random. Like, I really enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. I loved their little back and forth about that, but it also seemed weird because he was like, yeah, we should probably head back into the club room now, huh? But then they just had an entirely new conversation. So I was like, how long is this conversation? Like, I feel like this should have been an entirely different thing because it also felt random. Like, it felt like this should have been more of the focus. Learning about, you know, Monika as a person should have been more of the focus than the Mr. X stuff. The Mr. X stuff could have been a conversation we had, like, you know, like I said, after the club or something, or later. It felt weird to put them there at the exact same time, you know? Wait, do you miss all of that if you were to go with the others? I think! Actually, I'm pretty sure. Because, I mean, I don't know how else I would tell her those things. I don't know how else that she would be told those things. So that is actually a good question. I didn't think about that. Because I was like, as far as I'm aware, yeah, if I didn't actually go outside with her, then I don't think I would have that conversation with her at all. So yeah, for the most part, like I said, everything about that is fine and cute. I just felt like it felt like two things were pretty good besides the exposition part. The Mr. X part, I feel like could have been like shortened or something. But the Monika, like talking to her, that one felt fine. But it felt like it shouldn't have been attached to the Mr. X thing. Because like I said, it made everything feel extremely long. Like that crap felt like I was reading for such a long ass time. Like, holy. I was there for a bit. Like, I think the pacing might be the word I have to use there. Some of the firewall stuff could be cut. Yeah, that's basically what I was like. The firewall stuff could be cut and like added somewhere else, you know, somewhere later instead of right there. Like, it felt so, like, it just made everything really long. Like, I feel like that needs to be quickened up a bit. Like I said, this mod just feels like the biggest issue is this mod really likes to explain things a lot. like this mod really likes its exposition, which on some cases is fine, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you get into the realm of over explaining, you know, or you're giving exposition too much and you start to make people sit there like, oh god, it's still going. It's like, how long have we been here? But yeah, other than that though, the scene was fine. I think it was cute. Thank you for the gift sub, by the way, Yuri, please.
Well, now that everyone's ready, why don't we find someone to share with? I can't wait!
Barry and Monika enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sarah is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monika wrote hers in a composition notebook. You can already see Monika's pristine handwriting from where I sit. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. I do the same myself. Alright, let's go in old-fashioned DDLC order, shall we? I think I'd like to share with Sayori first. I'm really trying to get to know her. The real her.
This is a good poem, Zero. Are you sure it's your first time?
I mean, I've dabbled a bit before. It's not that good, though.
Hey, it impressed me. Well, to be honest, I was afraid that you wouldn't do it seriously. Or that you wouldn't write one at all. I'm just really happy that you wrote one. It just reminds me of how you're really part of the club now.
Tell me about it. Well, of course. I'm not really into it yet, but that doesn't mean I'd break my promise.
See, it's like I said before, Zero. Deep down, you're not selfish at all, you know? Trying new things like this for other people. That's something that only really good people do.
Thanks, Sayori. I'm not sure if Sayori sees the full picture of my motive here. Then again, I'm not sure I do either. Still haven't really figured out what I'm going to do about Mr. X, or what his real motive is yet. Can't deny, though, that being here in this club is part of the reason I went along with his request. You know, aside from the whole brain death thing.
Yeah. And I'm gonna make sure you have lots of fun here, okay? That'll be my way of thanking you.
Very well. I'm going to hold you to that, then.
Yay! Now you'll read my poem too, right? Don't worry, I'm really bad at this.
I have a feeling you're better than you give yourself credit for. It's just Dear Sunshine, as per usual. Think of the other GIF sub Yuri plays, goddamn. Next project, mod with constant over-explanations. Honestly, I'll give this mod credit. This so far, that's like my only like actual gripes with this mod. Is the vanilla dialogue and how much exposition is kind of thrusted. Everything else is pretty fine, though. Everything else is pretty solid. Ah, breakfast sounds good.
Right? Wait, is that all you got from that?
No, just wanted to comment on it. I'm guessing you probably wrote this sometime this morning.
I forgot to do it last night.
Well, at least that makes me feel a little bit better about myself.
Don't be mean. I still tried my best.
No, I meant I wrote some of mine this morning as well. Sorry, looks a bit surprised to hear me say this. I'm guessing she expected me to be the responsible one.
You did? How come?
You're seriously going to question me for doing the same thing you did?
Fair point.
Besides, I didn't mean to say that was a bad poem either. Came out really nice. Short and to the point. Just like you.
Really? Hey, wait a minute! Are you calling me short?
Not compared to Natsuki, anyway.
That's not really saying much.
I'll be sure to tell her you said that.
Hey, you meanie.
Sorry, I'm just joking around. But I really am craving some breakfast food now. Pancakes and sausage would taste amazing right about now.
This morning, I made eggs and toast.
And thus you are running late for school.
It's bad to skip breakfast. I get all cranky.
I do too. Though that's just me in general. Not much of a morning person.
Me neither.
Anyway, thanks for showing me your poem, Sayori.
This was so much fun. Monika's the best.
Yeah.
The next time, I won't wait until the last minute. And I'm gonna write the best poem ever.
I definitely look forward to it. I'm glad he commented on the weird Monika line. Yeah, I guess. It's like, I'm glad he commented on that. I know why she says it though, I think, because I don't think it's meant to be a, oh, something spooky's happening. I think it's because that was because the poem sharing was Monika's idea. So what she's saying is, this was so much fun, Monika's the best. So she's like, being like, this is so much fun, like Monika's the best because this was Monika's idea. So, but I do like how he's like, yeah. Because Monika didn't, I don't think Monika started messing with the game until like very later into Act 1. Like maybe she was messing in with here, but I don't know, I feel like a random thing for her to even insert.
I'm gonna make Sayori say that I'm cool.
Kind of seems like a very weird thing for her to insert. I was like, God damn, Yuri plays with the third gift sub. He says, giving. Thank you. Don't worry, Natsuki, I'm 3 inches shorter than you. Okay, Sayori's not even that much taller than Natsuki, funnily enough. I think what? Because Natsuki's 4'11", Sayori's like 5'2". I mean, Natsuki is shorter by the rest of them for sure, but it's like she's not even that much shorter. That's funny, she is still called the short one. Zero, if you're not going to take this club seriously, then go home. What? Harsh. What? You expect me to believe that you actually put effort into this? Do you think I'm stupid? Hey, that's not fair. I never claimed to be good at this. And maybe it's not very good, but I did put in effort. I'll start somewhere, right? I know Natsuki isn't supposed to like my poem if I didn't write it about something she'd like, but still. I guess I have a lot to learn about how to receive critical feedback. That was not critical. MC, that was not productive feedback. All she told us was that our poem was trash. This was not productive in the slightest. She gave me the same feedback YouTube comments give. I'm sure you weren't the best when you first started either, you know. Sorry. It's alright. No, it's not the greatest. I'm still learning after all. It's fine. You'll get better anyway. I tell you what to improve, but you're better off just trying again. I mean, I guess. Anyway, I guess I gotta share mine now. Knowing you, you'll probably think it's stupid. You don't know me well enough to know that. And I doubt I'll think it's stupid. Man, this poem's stupid. Yeah. I told you they weren't gonna like it. I didn't say that. Quite the opposite, in fact. I actually do like it. What? Just be honest. I am being honest. I generally liked how it's got its message across without being overly dramatic. Alright, I'm gonna be honest. Chat, I'm coming out to tell the truth. I, Afro Zero, like Natsuki's poems. I'm sorry. I like her I like her poems. I think that why is everyone in chat thinking I was coming out as gay? That wasn't no wait. This was a different thing is what they thought. No, I'm not gay. It's not about the poems. There's something wrong with her poems? I guess not. I don't know. I don't know why I said this as if this was like a hot take. I don't know. I like her poems. I like her poems more than Yuri's poems. That's right. I said it. I don't know. I always agreed with Natsuki. I appreciate Natsuki's poems because she gets to the point in little words. Yuri's poems got all that fluff and crap in them. Not saying Yuri's poems are bad. Hold up, Yuri fans. Stop. Put the keyboard down. Hold it up. I'm not saying Yuri's poems are bad. Yuri's poems are good too. All of their poems are actually good. I just personally relate more with Natsuki's poems because I like that they're short and simple and sweet. That is why I personally prefer her poems. That is it. I think Yuri's poems are fine too. I'm just saying, I agree with Natsuki's reasoning as to why she thinks her poems are superior. Now, do I think Natsuki's poems are superior objectively? No, their argument is still that they're both wrong, obviously. That is still the goal of their argument, that they're both wrong. But I personally like Natsuki's poems more. Sayori's are the best. Sayori's poems are pretty good too. They're all good poems. The whole point is that you're one of the... I think, like I said, the whole point that everyone has different poems they relate to more, I think is the whole point of DDLC, obviously, is that it's all different writing styles. So you're like, I like these poems. I like these poems. But being honest, I kind of like Monika's poems the most. I like her doing little stuff with the paper. I actually think that's actually really cool and clever. I like that she plays with the space on the paper. Natsuki's is probably... Actually, I kind of like Sayori's. Actually, more than Natsuki's. My poem tier list might go like Monika, Sayori, Natsuki, and then Yuri's poems. Anyway. Yeah, nobody hurt me, please. I genuinely liked how it got its message across without being overly dramatic. Pretty straight to the point. And the ending there, where it subverts her expectation of rhyming, it's clever. Natsuki genuinely seems both embarrassed and shocked, but mostly the former.
Thanks.
Everyone in high school thinks that writing has to be all sophisticated and stuff. So people don't even take my writing seriously. Ah, I see. But isn't the point of poems for people to express themselves? Your writing style wouldn't make your message any less valid.
Yes, exactly. I like when it's easy to read, but it hits you hard. Like in this poem. Seeing everyone around you do great things can be really disheartening. So I decided to write about it.
Yeah, I understand.
But the other nice thing about simple writing is that it puts more weight on the wordplay. Like you pointed it out, I set up for a rhyme at the end, but then made it fall flat on purpose. It helps bring out the feeling in the last line.
It was a good idea.
That's what it means to be a pro. I'm glad you learned something. Didn't expect that from the youngest one here, did you?
Yeah, guess not. I decided to humor her with that last comment. I forgot I keep forgetting that she says youngest one here, and that caused everyone to be like, "Bah! Natsuki isn't 18! This is Deke!" And then it's like, I'm pretty sure it just means youngest one here in terms of months. Like, they can all still be 18 with Natsuki being the youngest. It's still possible. It makes you wonder, it's like people forgot that months exist. Hey, for the one bit, it's Sonic. Too late. Someone asked me to shoot you. Don't do it! Don't do it! It's Sonic. Don't shoot me! Surprise! Now you're gone! You fool! Did you think I didn't have a trick up my sleeve? Yuri stares at the poem. A minute passes. More than enough time for her to finish reading.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to start speaking.
It's fine. Don't force yourself.
I'm not. I just need to put my thoughts into words. Hold on. Okay. This is your first time writing a poem, right?
Yeah? Why do you ask?
I'm just making sure. I guess that it might be after reading through it.
Ah, so it's that bad.
No! Did I just raise my voice? I'm so sorry.
Yuri buries her face in her hands. I couldn't help but notice that it's been several minutes and we really haven't gotten anywhere. It might take Yuri a while to get used to new people. It's fine. I really didn't notice. What were you saying?
Right. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical of new writers. And having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they form-fit the two together. The end result is that both the style and the expressiveness are weakened.
Once Yuri finds her train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone, and she sounds like an expert.
Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are so many different skills and techniques that go into writing even a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice, and learning by example, and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you valuable feedback. Natsuki can be a little bit biased, though.
Biased? How?
Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry.
It's fine. Not sure if Yuri's apologizing to herself, to me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now?
Please do. I'd love to share my thought process behind it.
Yuri smiles dreamily, as if that's a rare opportunity for her. Which in itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? I do always love how Yuri's always like, Natsuki's a little biased, as she is literally biased too. Also, just for heads up, guys, it is storming outside, so if the stream just abruptly dies, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry I have such terrible handwriting.
What? I wasn't thinking that at all.
But it took you a long time to read.
Yuri, that's not even true. I clicked like 10 seconds after. I've read this poem multiple times. Well, I just don't read cursive very often. I really don't. That is true. I actually think your handwriting's pretty.
That's a relief. Thank you.
Also, I like the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive.
It wasn't too short. I usually write longer poems.
Not at all.
I'm really glad you like it. I'll be honest. Since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose.
That's right. You're into horror and such, correct? So I assume you typically write things with darker themes or elements?
That's correct, Zero. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences in their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in her last remaining places of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing.
That's very poetic. Sorry, there's probably a better way to say that. Still though, it's definitely impressive. Way better than mine, in fact.
It's nothing, really. Well, it makes me happy that you think that. Just remember that it won't be long before you pick up on these things too.
Yeah, maybe you're right. I guess I'll have to keep trying.
I'm counting on you.
Dun, dun, dun. Alright, who's next? Alice Monika time.
Hi, Zero. Having a good time so far?
Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear it. By the way, I know I don't have to tell you this, but since you're here, if you do ever have any suggestions for the club, like new activities or things we could do better, especially since we don't know how long, I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay? I never really got much feedback from, well, you know.
Yeah. Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Not really sure what it would change, but I suppose at this point, anything could happen.
Anyway, want to share your poem with me?
I'm a little nervous, but I guess so.
Don't worry, Zero. We're all a little nervous today, you know? But it's that sort of barrier that we'll all learn to get past soon.
Yeah, that's true. And Monika, my poem. Oh, her poem's different now. I was about to wonder that. Echoes. Why does she get new poem music? Damn, bro. Nobody else got new poem music. Only Monika does. Echoes.
Somber thoughts run through my head about the life to which this led, breathing new life to what was said, and all I hear are echoes of all the paths I dare not tread, of long lost love in books I've read. I bemoan these thoughts while in my bed, since all I hear are echoes. If this or that were true instead, only I stayed or begged or pled, if darkness weren't inside my head, but all I hear are echoes. I hear the whispers that I dread, of demons past from which I fled. I talk of times I've cried and bled, not all I hear are echoes.
Pretty good. Echoes? A Fire Emblem reference? Also, I'm pretty sure that was our poem, I think? Because I'm pretty sure that wasn't her font. So I think that was actually our poem. So we actually, I think, got to read it. At least I think that was our poem. Because when it said I hand her my poem, I was like, well, you know, we trade. So maybe this is Monika's. But I still read it in Monika's voice. Because, I mean, if it is his poem, she would have to read it. I'm about to say.
This is...
Monika takes a few moments to compose herself.
Well, this is definitely a surprise, Zero.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, sorry, no, I didn't mean anything negative by that. I just meant that I wasn't sure how much experience you had previously with writing poetry. That, along with the fact I never got to see what the original main character actually wrote.
Yeah, okay, that was our poem. Okay, so that's why it was MC's music. All right, that makes sense. She more or less whispers the last part so the others couldn't hear.
I just wasn't sure what to expect is all.
Ah, I see.
But it's good. I really like it.
You do?
Yeah, I like the variation of the Violetta scheme. Or maybe it's the Rumpet.
Violet? I think it's Violet, regular. I think it's just Violet.
Violet scheme, or maybe it's the Rumpet?
I'm sorry, the what and the what? What? Monika giggles.
Sorry, I had a lot of time on my hands previously, so I've read a lot on poetry. Basically, a Violet or a Rumpet rhyming scheme is one that is comprised of 3 to 4 lines, with the first few having the same rhyme, and the last one in the stanza linking the others. Another way to visualize it is using these letters, AAB, BBB, CCB, etc. Though I think typically the last line in each stanza is a different rhyme, but instead, you chose to vary the first part of the line, which is interesting. It shows that the echoes you thought were a sign of emptiness or isolation were not. In fact, the only thing with you. Your past demons were with you all along. Something I can relate to.
Ah, yeah. Although I wasn't aware what it was called, that is basically what I was going for. Reminds me how much my past mistakes and regrets linger with me. Monika nods.
It's very good. If I had any advice to give you, it would be this. Don't be afraid to go outside your comfort zone. It's nice when poetry follows a common rhyming scheme, but many people don't realize you don't have to rhyme for it to be poetry. What matters is the pacing and flow. If your poem evokes visual imagery or emotions, and it flows one into the next without feeling too disjointed, that can be just as effective at conveying emotion. And poetry is really about conveying the author's emotions to the reader.
Duly noted. I'm sure I'll end up trying different things out. It could take a while before I feel comfortable doing this. At least in front of others.
That's okay. I'd love to see you try new things. That's the best way to find the kind of style that suits you. Everyone else might be a little biased towards their own kinds of styles, but I'll always help you find what suits you the most. So don't force yourself to write the way everyone else wants you to write. It's not like you have to worry about impressing them or anything.
I laugh somewhat sarcastically and anxiously.
Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good.
You sound pretty confident for someone who claims to not be very good.
Well, that's because I have to sound confident. That doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know?
I see. Well, let's read it then. Okay, this is the... Oh, wait, no, this is different. This is light in the wall. This is different. There's no longer a hole in the wall. Light in the wall. A plain white room. No color or objects that adorned it. Barren and devoid of personality. Trapped in an artificial room with an artificial light from a single bulb above. Save for a hole in the wall, I once peered inside, looking for answers. What I saw was frightening. A world of possibility out of my reach. All I could do was watch. Pounded against the wall, just hoping someone could hear me. Hoping someone could see me. Hoping someone could save me. Suffocating from the stale air, I sustained myself by breathing what air I could coming through the hole. My life slowly losing color. Was this the end? Was there really no happiness left to be found? Suddenly the wall around the hole begins to crumble. Bigger and bigger, the hole grows as light pours in. My hand reaches from the other side. I hesitate at first, then take it in my own. It's warm, warmer than everything else in this cold, dreary room. It pulls me through the newly formed opening, my eyes adjusting to the bright light. No longer was I alone looking out. Together, we were looking forward. Well, that's nice. Also, I wanted to talk about this because I thought it was funny. I find it funny how, like, I think because most people base their personalities off the base game, so a lot of the knowledge they also base it off the base game. So a lot of people's I think like kind of interpretation of Monika was that she knew a lot about poetry and everything, because we're like, that's kind of how she kind of gives off in the base game. And then fucking in the side stories universe, Monika like only really likes poetry because of being able to express yourself, but she doesn't even really know all that much about it. Or at least she doesn't seem like she does. Like, she knows very, like, you know, the basic minimum amount of information when it comes to poetry. But, like, it's like the side story, she just knows, like, the very, like, base minimum of poetry stuff. And ends up being, I think, what, isn't it end up being, like, Sayori knows a little bit more about poetry than Monika does? Like, fucking... It's like she just likes the idea of poetry and likes, you know, poetry itself. But it's like, so I was like, I always find it funny how different it ended up being, and it's just like, oh, she just likes poetry.
Side stories has Sayori be the expert. Sayori's like the expert at like feelings. I don't think she like is the expert at knowing the types. I think Yuri, is still the expert in poetry and the side stories, if I recall. Because I'm pretty sure, Sayori just like, because Sayori isn't going around in the side stories being like, oh, change that stanza, like stuff like that. She just, knows how to convey her feelings or express her feelings in a way, which Monika's the same too. It seems like in the side stories, they're more so just talented at writing poems without really knowing the, structure of without knowing how to knowing the, I don't know how to really explain this, like the like basics of poetry, I guess. Like they just know how to write the poems. They know how to write them. They don't know how to explain it to you, Which makes sense, because, I mean, not everybody who's good at something is a teacher, Just because you're good at something doesn't mean you'd be a good teacher at it. Sayori's poem potential is held back with her breakfast. Exactly. Also, I need to thank all these gift subs. Thank you for the 2 more gift sub Yuri plays, and the gift sub Gundam Tanaka. You guys are going crazy with these gift subs. Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, no, it's just funny. It's just funny how much, it's always funny how, the interpretations of the characters are always, we're, slightly altered, or, we got to get more information from the side stories, and we're like, oh, I guess it was this. But I don't blame people for thinking Monika was a fucking expert at poems, because I think in the base game, she kind of comes off that way.
So, what do you think?
Oh, wow. It's different than your original one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looks to still be a bit free form, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, it isn't so much because of the script, but rather I just really enjoy writing in that style, These types of poems put a lot of emphasis on the timing between words and lines. When performed out loud, they can be really powerful.
I know it's somewhat obvious, at least I think, but was the inspiration behind this related to recent events? Monika looks a little embarrassed.
I guess you could say that.
She didn't look embarrassed. Her face didn't change.
I'm kind of nervous to talk about deep stuff like that, because all of this is still kind of new to me.
Isn't that what you said before?
True, but this time I meant it for other reasons. Anyway, though we don't necessarily have to follow everything in the script, I'd still like to offer a writing tip of the day.
Oh, by all means. Monika giggles.
Always carry a pen or pencil and a notebook with you. Or if you prefer, always keep your note-taking app handy on your phone. You never know when inspiration will strike, or you get an idea and just need to write it down. Especially at night if you're lying in bed, or wake up from a particularly inspiring dream that makes you want to write about it. Don't worry about getting every little detail. Just write down the main points or the general idea. You can always go back later and expand on it. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening, Zero.
Let out a small chuckle. My pleasure. Christmas in July, respect it. I mean, it's June, but I'll still respect it. Phew. To say that was stressful would be an understatement. Despite knowing how things would play out, my anxiety reared its ugly head with a vengeance, which just made me more nervous trying to hide it. On top of that, actually writing a poem ended up being a bit more challenging than I'd anticipated. Still, I'm just glad it's over with. I sigh with relief and go back to my desk, ready to plunk down and allow myself time to breathe. Unfortunately, it would seem fate had other plans. Ooh, I'm curious to see what choices do we get here. Can we ask Monika to intervene? Be like, Monika, get these bitches! Monika, send these motherfuckers straight to hell! While Monika and Sayori were happily chatting in a corner, my eyes moved over to Yuri and Natsuki. It was like watching someone run a red light onto oncoming traffic. You knew the crash was coming, but you can't look away. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As they read in tandem, I watch each of their expressions change. Natsuki's eyebrows furrow in frustration. Meanwhile, Yuri smiles sadly.
Did you say something? Oh, sorry. I liked it.
Natsuki hands Yuri's poem back to her.
I don't know why, but I feel like I've read this before, though.
What? Oh. Huh? Monika and I both look at each other simultaneously. Huh?
Judging by her reaction, she had only not stopped to listen to their conversation at the same time I did, but was also taken aback by the deviation in script. For her and I, that would be understandable, unless...
Oh, I don't see how. Only just wrote this last night.
Never mind, you're right.
So you liked it?
I mean, it's not exactly my style, but it's alright. What about mine?
Yours is cute.
Cute? Did you completely miss the symbolism or something? There it is. Don't worry, false alarm. Oh boy, here we go. Damn, I thought maybe we'd be lucky and avoid this. It's clearly about the feeling of giving up. How can that be cute?
I know that. I just meant the language, I guess. I was trying to say something nice.
Or hold up, I have to see something, because maybe I'm going crazy. Am I insane? Okay, the music did change when we were sharing poems. I thought that song had been playing for like 7 years, but it hasn't been. Because I was like, did the song change when we were creating poems? I feel like the song has been in my head for I don't know how long, and I'm like, okay, never mind. The song did change. This is just the club room theme, I guess, now.
I was just trying to say something nice.
Guys? You mean you have to try that hard to come up with something nice to say? Thanks, but didn't really come out nice at all. Come on now,
Well, I do have a couple suggestions.
I get that the two absorbed in their argument and feelings are running high, but I'm starting to feel mine do the same as they ignore me. I'd really rather they didn't fight. I want to keep the peace, if not anything else. If I was looking for suggestions, I would have asked someone who actually liked it. Which people did, by the way. Sayori liked it, and Zero did too. Okay, but I also like... So based on that, I'll gladly give you some suggestions of my own. First of all...
Excuse me. I appreciate the offer, but I've spent a long time establishing my writing style. I don't expect it to change anytime soon, unless of course I come across something particularly inspiring, which I haven't yet. And Zero liked my poem too, you know. He even told me he was impressed by it.
Yes, but... Natsuki suddenly stands up. Oh? I didn't realize you were so invested in trying to impress our new member, Yuri. At this point, I'm starting to feel pretty incensed that I'm being ignored. I already know where this is going, and I don't want it to happen again. But this damn script seems like it's hell-bent on carrying out its march towards a feud.
That's not... You're just...
Yuri stands up as well.
Maybe you're just jealous that Zero appreciates my advice more than he appreciated yours.
Huh? And how do you know he didn't appreciate my advice more? Are you that full of yourself?
No. If I was full of myself, I would deliberately go out of my way to make everything I do overly cutesy.
Is everyone okay?
Well, you know what? I wasn't the one whose boobs magically grew a size bigger as soon as Zero started showing up.
Natsuki,
that's a little...
This doesn't involve you!
I don't like fighting, guys.
Seeing Sayori's hurt expression was just a little more than I could bear. I need to step in, and I need to get their attention. Don't take sides, just say something. Stop it! I slam my palm down on the desk in a moment of exasperation. Natsuki is terrified. I feel like Natsuki's face should change. That should be a different face, because Natsuki is terrified. Natsuki immediately flinches backwards, while Yuri shrinks back a little. All four girls are looking towards me with either shock or fear. Yeah, well, maybe that is fear. That is fear. Maybe that was the intention then. My heart sinks immediately. Not only because I'm disappointed in myself for my tone of voice, but because of what it might have set off for Natsuki. You guys, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to lose my temper like that. It just... didn't want to see you guys fight is all. And none of us were getting through. Look, everyone has their differences, their strengths, and their weaknesses. You saw one of my weaknesses just now. I'm ashamed to admit, but I don't react well under tense environments. People arguing, I get caught up in it. I look towards Natsuki's direction, hoping that at least some of what I said would resonate with her. I wasn't lying, but I'm especially worried what I did upset her more. Anyway, I'm getting off track. The point is, we all have something we're good at. Just because something isn't exactly someone's cup of tea, doesn't mean it lacks merit. Different people like different things. So by engaging in discussion and exchanging poems of different styles like this, you might end up learning something from one another. I mean, I'm terrible at writing, but after having read all of your poems, I definitely feel inspired to try out different styles and techniques. Things I want to try and incorporate into my own writing. After all, diversity is the mother of all creation, doesn't it? Monika burst into laughter. I'm caught off guard a little at first, but then I realized what I said and start to laugh a little as well. Diversity is the mother of all creation.
Zero, I don't think that's how that quote goes at all.
Yeah, well, you guys get my point anyway. We're stronger together than we are apart. We should always remember that.
That was cheesy. I have to admit, it was a bit cliche.
You sounded like an after-school special. With this, the mood in the room suddenly lightens, and everyone is smiling again. Yeah, laugh it up. We'll see who's laughing when I bring a poem tomorrow that'll blow everyone else's out of the water.
Oh, is that a challenge, Zero?
You're damn right. I puff out my chest in a show of fake bravado.
Zero, you're so silly. I think I've seen this side of you before.
Yuri looks at Sayori, kind of surprised.
Really? I would have thought you two knew each other well enough that there weren't any surprises between you two.
Well, she's not wrong, but at this point I might as well just lean into it.
Yeah, me too.
Sayori still surprises me every time she manages to not be late.
Hey, you meanie. I'm not late that often.
I reach out and gently tussle her hair. I'm just messing with you.
Okay, everyone. It's just about time for us to leave. How did you all feel about sharing poems? It was a lot of fun. Well, I'd say it was worth it.
It was alright. Well, mostly.
Zero, how about you?
Yeah, I'd say the same. It was a neat thing to talk about with everyone.
Awesome. In that case, we'll do the same thing tomorrow. And maybe you learn something from your friends, too. So your poems will turn out even better.
I think to myself. I did learn a little more about everyone. With any luck, that means I am one step closer to figuring out how to help Monika save them. I nod to myself with newfound determination.
Zero! Ready to walk home?
Sure, let's go.
Hehe.
Siri beams at me. It truly has been an interesting and worthwhile experience getting to spend this much time together with her. Can't really say I'm not enjoying it either. Well, that was interesting. All right, so we had him cut in, I guess, which is I mean, I kind of figured. I think every mod I've played that like goes over the whole argument scene, they always now make MC do something about it, where he's like, "Guys, stop it!" You know, instead of roping Sayori. Nobody liked the roping Sayori option. I still agree with what Dan said. That is the worst option there, no matter what. Like, everybody likes to be like, "Oh, but Sayori." Like, I mean, it's like, it's not even the worst option, but it's also like not that good of an option either. Like, it's still a bad option because he just ropes Sayori into something she's not even involved in. And is like, "Yeah, guys, look at what you're doing to Sayori." And Sayori's like, "What?" Like, it's such a mean thing to do. And then even when you do rope Sayori into it, she barely stops the argument. She just makes things awkward. She just talks about Yuri's breasts. It makes everyone just feel uncomfortable. Everyone's just like, "Oh, Sayori, you weren't supposed to do that." And Natsuki's just like, "What?" So yeah. Also, I can thank you for the other gift subs Yuri plays. God damn. And for the resub Rage Bob. If you run out of mods, do reading of fanfics. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever run out of mods anytime soon, but if I do, then yeah, fanfics. Also, yeah, it seems like Natsuki's thing was intentional, because yeah, it seems that him yelling is probably supposed to be, fucking... It seems like him yelling was supposed to be like a PTSD, you know, for her father, I'm assuming. Which I guess makes sense. I don't know. It was something I never really thought about. Like, Natsuki being afraid of people yelling because it would make her think about her father. But, like, I don't know. It's just, because Natsuki, because, like, all right, because I always had this kind of thing with Natsuki's, you know, whole thing with her father. I always had the impression that her dad was never fully abusive to her. The reason why I always said this was because Natsuki, as a person, doesn't really exhibit behavior of an abuse victim because, yeah, as somebody just mentioned in the chat, which was what I was going to use, Natsuki goes around yelling at people all the time. Like, typically, abuse victims would be, abuse victims would typically at least I would think would be more, like, apprehensive, you know, be more apprehensive to approach people or to yell at people like that because they're afraid of people yelling back at them, you know? So it's like, but Natsuki's a very, like, forward person. Which always made me feel like that her relationship with her father isn't that he, like, abuses or, like, beats her. Not saying that he does it well. I'm not saying that he treats her well. It always felt like it was probably just she doesn't have a good relationship with her father, where, you know, they go back and forth and they constantly yell at each other. That was always the impression I took from that. But, again, this is a case of, we don't really get much information about Natsuki's home life at all, so honestly any answer that anybody can give is basically correct. It was like her entire home life, I'm pretty sure, is up to interpretation regardless. That's just my interpretation. No one can really have the wrong interpretation on her home life unless you say it's good. I think that's the only wrong interpretation of her home life you can have, is that it's fine. Because it's like, that was just always my interpretation. So this one isn't necessarily bad. It's just, I was giving a reason why I never personally thought about that because of the fact of how Natsuki is as a character. But, again, I mean, people are obviously different in all that cases. I thought it was the slamming that startled her rather than the yelling. I think it was the slamming. It was the slamming. It wasn't the yell. I mean, well, he yelled and slammed at the same time. He said, "Stop it!" And then he slammed. Oh, yeah, I guess the slamming did actually startle. I don't know if it was the yelling. I think he only mentioned this. I think it was only the slamming that startled her, probably. She displays more traits of a bullying victim, if anything. Well, I think that's why in the side stories they drop the Natsuki's dad thing, though. That might be why, because I think that's why in the side stories the Natsuki's dad subplot is dropped, and instead we're given a bullying plot instead, where they focus more on Natsuki not being accepted by other people, because that was always, like I said, to me, that was always the character that she gave off. She always gave off the character who was always getting bullied by other people, so she always felt like she had to, you know, puff her chest up at everybody. Because everybody used to always look down on her and belittle her, you know? So that's where I was like, that was always the impression I gave. So that might be one of the reasons why Dan even ended up dropping the whole Natsuki's dad subplot in the side stories, if I'm being honest. But again, like I said, that wasn't me saying, though, that scene was wrong for doing that or anything. I was just saying that was why I never really saw that. Interesting depiction, though. Very interesting. Interesting to have her have, like, a PTSD from, like, the slam, like, to actually be more affected than anybody else, and to also have the MC kind of comment on that a little. Well, we have to look down at her. She's small. Okay, chat. This is the bullying she's talking about. Sayori, about what happened earlier.
What do you mean?
You know, about my little outburst at Yuri and Natsuki. I really am sorry about that. You and they probably think I'm kind of a jerk. I can't blame anyone for thinking that.
No! That's really the first time I've seen you like that. I know that's not how you usually are. I'm just glad you're able to express your feelings. I don't think anyone thinks you're a jerk. Do they annoy you?
No, they don't annoy me. I just want to get their attention, that's all. I guess I just want everyone to get along and be friends.
You know, Zero, it's nice they get to spend time with you in the club, but I think seeing you get along with everyone as well is what makes me the happiest. And I think everyone really likes you, too.
That's...
Every day is gonna be so much fun.
At the very least, interesting. Looks like Sayori still hasn't caught on to the kind of situation I'm in. Sure, being friends with everyone is nice, but will Monika and I really be able to save everyone? We'll just have to see what the future holds, Sayori. I pat Sayori on the shoulder. But I'm more to myself than to her. Hope there's a way I can help everyone. You can't save everyone! Spider-Man!
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do this. Oh, there we go. End of demo. It's a canon event, Sayori. No! It's a canon event, Zero. Miguel! He just appears into the... He just cuts into the mod. No! You fucking... The little did we know. We're about to go save Sayori. We're about to go open the door and stop Sayori. We are stopped by Spider-Man. We have to fight him. We gotta save Sayori. It's a canon event, MC. Nah, I'm gonna do it my way. End of demo. Thanks for playing. Stay tuned for more info regarding the mod's development. All right. Well, there we go. Doki Doki Liberation demo has been completed, everybody. Everybody clap it up. All right, so that was pretty good. I liked it. I liked the let me turn this down a little bit because it's loud. Ah! Every day. Okay, I like the, it uses the same kind of plot of MC. Guy gets sucked into DDLC. Not a very, unique plot, but as I've said this before, I don't care if people don't have unique plots, as long as you do it right, I don't care. You can have an idea that other people do, but do it in a different way, which this mod does. This mod does the idea in a different way by having, the Mr. X thing, and by giving, for when it seems like a lot of choices are going to be in the mod that affect certain things, which I think is also very interesting. I like that addition. The girls are all pretty much in character, which, I mean, to be fair, isn't that hard, it seems, since a lot of this is vanilla dialogue. But for the new dialogue, for the most part, all the girls are all in character. Yeah, the music's nice. I really like a lot of the music in the mod. And I think my only negative, the only gripes I think I have for the mod is, it feels kind of exposition heavy at times, like... It feels like I mentioned before, as going through, there were some times I really felt like the mod was just really hammering stuff, like just really wanted to tell me everything, like just dropping everything, just to tell me, just info dumping, I felt like the mod really liked to do that. I feel like it has to find a better way to deliver that. And of course the vanilla dialogue. I understand why it's there, but I kind of wish it was handled in a better way. I wish there were more alterations. Because even Monika herself says that the script can adjust to different deviations and stuff. So I feel like deviating a little bit off the script and making the dialogue a little more spicy and stuff, I think could work. Or what I've seen some other mods do is that they would have the MC basically just kind of summarize, we went through the cupcake scene as normal or something like that, just something to make it all just so I don't have to sit here and read all of this. Reality. Oh, that part of the song. I fucking love it. Oh, what the? What? What is this? Why is she here? It's just very silly. That is extremely silly. Canon event! Miguel, no! Curse you, Miguel! He follows me everywhere! But yeah, I can't wait to see the mod when it fully releases. But yeah, that is it. If you want to download this mod for yourself, the link will be in the description below. And yeah, this has been Zero. Peace.